The Atlast reviews are in, and they probably wish they weren't, getting just 8% from the critics. And this movie tried, I was going to say everything, but all it really did is pull in Jennifer Lopez because she's too old to shake her ass for a music video now. Guess I better try my hand at acting.
Okay. Let's go, bitch.
And my favourite thing is looking at critics' reviews where they despise it. They seem to do a competition of who can be the most savage. While AI may not be advanced enough to make a movie even as crap as this one, it seems like it hasn't stopped autocomplete from having a go. This big-budget sci-fi is only half fun, which also goes in hand with The Hollywood Reporter. J-Lo and Simu Liu make another movie to half-watch while doing laundry. So at least we know it's intended as a chick flick. Oh, and this movie has other, features.
Wait, how did it know I wanted coffee?
I'm sorry, but my pronouns are she and her, not it.
It. The English language has masculine, feminine, and neutral. Not that you'd even know to get offended by it, unless you'd been coded to get offended by it. Basically a blue-haired writer sticking his hand up their ass. Not J-Lo's. I feel like in this example I have to make that clear. And I think the reviews prove that having J-Lo doesn't really do you any favours anymore, now that the media have realised that everyone's got an arse. If you were going to get famous for just one thing, maybe every person in the world shouldn't have had that same thing. It is funny though when you're like, we've got a crap movie, we're going to need some star talent to really save this thing. Should we get Simu Liu? He'll save it. Technically, Atlast is a sci-fi flick. Technically. So not really then. With Simu Liu breaking his own programming as an AI to orchestrate the slaughter of millions. What's he doing? Acting out his fantasies after his Marvel movie failed. This isn't Blade Runner. With uninspired visuals and a tepid script, the robot war is a mere pretext for the saga of a woman learning to love again. Okay, I was actually just joking about it being a chick flick, but what can I say? Most of the time, correlation is causation.
Get her back here right now, so I can loofah her to death.
And this stars Jennifer Lopez, a celebrity whose public persona is largely built around her willingness to let herself love again. I wouldn't know anything about that. Literally the only part of her public persona I've ever seen is, she's got an arse! Hey look guys! She's got one! She really was someone whose success was behind her. But never mind that the fact there is no actual human love interest in the theme. This is a rom-com in shiny metal Who wants a sci-fi rom-com? And you know how this movie was pitched. You know what the trailer pitched it as. You've got a load of guys turning up to see robots fight, and instead...
I do not know how to use this thing!
Let's hope you're a quick learner!
Oh, look, I've fallen in love with an AI. My standards are too high, it's my only hope. She is a prickly hero, though. Of course she is. She's a woman in a 2024 movie. What did you expect? Someone nice? The first act rips off Aliens, where she's shown to be a genius, beating a holographic AI at chess in the 71st game of the row. Look, this is meant for a streaming audience. They write it at about 85 IQ. How are we gonna prove she's smart chess? She's gonna beat chess a lot. Oh, this is why they keep repeating that everyone's equal. They're desperately trying to drag everyone down to their level. But she's suspicious of AI. Atlast insists on taking the mission fully analog. Paper? Where'd you find a printer? So you're still using a computer then? Are we going to say this AI is incredibly smart, but it can't hack Windows 10 because it's not backwards compatible? No, that's too retarded. But when the ship is attacked, she's forced into a mech suit of her own with an AI.
Do not scan my brain. If you wanted to know my name, you ask me.
Alone in her suit with only Smith for company, and he grows more fluent in her native language of sarcasm.
But your name is written on your badge.
No one likes a smartass Smith.
Because nothing is more attractive than a sarcastic woman. And for my next trick, I'm gonna girl boss too. Then you'll really like me. We might not be rooting for them to kiss. I don't even know how that'd work. But Cohan and Lopez chemistry elevates otherwise unremarkable dialogue. I have a feeling that for me, it wouldn't.
Atlas, this won't work if you don't trust me.
Okay, let's do this.
But for Angie, definitely gonna be up Angie's street. She probably wrote this while doing laundry. As the danger around them intensifies, so does their connection. Atlast and Smith inch closer to 100% synchronization. I feel like I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey. And she stripped off his chest piece to reveal his throbbing central processing unit. I need some different reviews, I need a break. As unconvincing as the drama inside the suit is, it's definitely better than what's happening outside it. She's like, oh, the connection between them was sensational. He's like, the drama inside was ass. Just like Jennifer Lopez.
sorry. I'm sad and lonely.
This is another content over quality. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You could actually employ people who are talented rather than tick boxes. Employ people who, when Mark Ruffalo enters a room, they come out in hives. People who are biologically allergic to Mark Hamill. Those are the people you want to be hiring in your company. Commonplaces and excess of repetitions leads you to disconnect before the final confrontation. I don't want to know how an AI's final confrontation arrives. I don't want to know how any AI arrives.
You're in my head and the only thing you learn how to do is curse?
I'm an adaptive learner.
Why do movies keep getting made that AI is misunderstood and the ultimate goal is for humans and AI to get along? I don't know. Why have we been told that people coming to us are committing crimes are misunderstood and we should just get along with them?
That's the fate of every refugee. You physically have to turn up on someone else's shore.
For decades. Let's not pretend this is a new Hollywood message, folks. It would be a waste of time for me to Wow, this is honest. It would be a waste of time for me to heavily criticize Atlast because Netflix isn't making movies for awards. It's to bring the blockbuster to your home. So in other words, I don't care about the blockbusters. I don't care about your home. I'm only here to review things for movies who want awards. Look, if I can't be pretentious about some arty-farty flick, if I can't watch a movie and be so bored I feel the need to dive headfirst into a black hole, then I'm quite frankly not going to review it. You don't appreciate art. Oh, that's so bad I need to go back to the Hollywood Reporter. I feel like I should be reading this review with romance music on. And when I say romance music, I mean romance music. But when they reach 100% synchronization, they merge. They become not human, not AI, but something new. A symbiosis. This looks much less cool than it sounds. Primarily manifests in finishing each other's sentences. Congratulations! We're now annoying! I hate you, Hollywood Reporter, and your scrolling. Atlast demonstrates very little curiosity about the social or philosophical issues raised by its prep. Were you expecting it to? Do you look at Jennifer Lopez and think, yes, there's a deep thinker? Look at Jennifer Lopez and think, yes, I want her essay deconstructing Descartes, one of the greatest minds of our age. That's why her back end was so big. That's where she stored the knowledge. What the film does want to get into is Atlas's trust issues. Oh god, they're gonna start singing Taylor Swift, aren't they? Harlan is a threat to Earth, but because we never move past Atlast and Smith, her entire beef reads as personal. He's basically a toxic ex. He left Atlast shattered and now refuses to leave her alone. No, I think Harlan would be like, plenty more fish in the sea, love. Bye. What was it that Doctor Who said again?
I've had an upgrade.
Plays the role of the new chump who heretically tries to teach Atlast that it's safe to love again. Notice how she doesn't have to put in any work herself. No, it's all Smith's fault. If you told me that Atlast was a cut segment from This Is Me, Now a Love Story, I don't know what that is. J-Lo embraces hopeless romanticism in a new film about a woman struggling with self-love. Can't be that odd. You're in your 50s, love. You've had plenty of practice by now. Atlast feels tiny as a romance, minus the actual romance. It treads no new emotional How can it? You're talking about the most basic of thing, the most simplistic of ideas since humans have been doing since they evolved out of the muck. And you're like, oh, we need this in our stories. This is new. I'm sorry that no one can make an interesting story about your emotions. Maybe we should just stop talking about them. No one cares.
This carpet is a person with feelings.
But I'm really haunted. No one cares. You're in your 50s, love. Put it away. But there's something oddly relatable, even romantic, about falling in love with a mechanized robot, about hope that healing's one heart might be the final step in saving the world. I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Healing your heart might be the first step in saving the world. This movie wasn't made for me.
Don't worry. We are simply the better versions of you.
This movie sounds like my idea of hell. I don't care at all about this movie's emotional climax or any other form of crescendo. It's enjoyably dumb in a mechanical way, and as a bunch of big stars spouting dialogue I'm pretty sure wasn't written by who. I mean, the start of his review sounds positive, and then he's like, no.
My primary protocol is to keep you alive.
Same!
Still gave it 2.5 out of 5. I remember this critic. What did I cover that you reviewed? He also gave Rebel Moon Part 2 the same score. Wait, does he give anything below 2.5? Ricky Stanicki must have been really awful. It's the only one that's got below 2.5. Oh, Madam Web, 1 out of 5. I agree. Oh, that's where I remember him for. The American Society, where he complained that it wasn't racist enough because it was designed so that white audiences could feel comfortable watching it. That's where I know him from. Netflix puts every cliche in sci-fi together without a clue of how to mash them into something worth the viewer's time. I'm not sure if you're ever attempting to mash something together it's going to result in an entertaining movie. It seems like the wrong way to go about things. The way Atlast manages to sacrifice storytelling and world building so that the spotlight can stay on Jennifer Lopez should be studied in laboratories and film institutes.
I don't need your help. I don't trust any AI.
They're like, look, we've got her. We signed her up. How can we keep her on the camera for no reason whatsoever? Could tell a story, but we need it to focus on her? Well, what does she do? Oh, she whines about her ex-boyfriends a lot and gets her end away. Right. Can we make a movie about that? What do you mean it's an AI that doesn't have any dangly bits? Don't worry, we'll come up with something.
This is what it feels like to be you.
This is what it feels like to be us.
This is the behind-the-scenes documentary we need. What happens when someone obsessed with dangly bits runs into a guy who doesn't have any? Now that is new emotional ground. Don't worry, Dave. Just lend me one of your sticks of RAM. I'll make it work. Lopez is left to fend for herself because the AI doesn't have any arms. Of course she's gonna have to do it herself. She did say she was practicing self-love. Just when you think the movie is about to pick up, it diverts into another void of emptiness. There's nothing of value in this AI propaganda affront to cinema. Like Terminator, Atlast is a cautionary tale. What? Not to make rom-coms? That the idea that anyone should care about her feelings is laughable and doesn't actually apply to the audience of movies. There's so many cautionary tales you can learn from this, I'm not sure which one you're referring to. But my feet? No one cares, love. Go and cry in a basement on your own and stay there. Keep your private life to yourself.
It's very stiff, and I mean, you can barely bend your legs.
Very well.
There is one person that likes it, IGN. It might not be groundbreaking, but it entertains us with a hot-button concept that sounds far worse than its execution. I'll give it one thing from the Hollywood Reporter's review. It definitely sounds awful. They gave it a 6. Netflix has done it again by making a generic movie that feels and looks exactly the same. Unfortunately, Atlast isn't different. Do you know how I worked out that it isn't any different? Well, because you said Netflix has done it again. This might be the worst constructed sentence I've ever read. Jennifer does keep me interested in parts, largely when she's walking away. Hidden somewhere beneath the generic dialogue, embarrassing plot, mediocre action, and oddly ineffective performances, there's a good idea. It's a shame the filmmakers never found it. Look, if you strip away all of the parts of the movie because they're all awful, well, I mean, there's one singular thought in it that was good.
And if I have to explode the engines and rupture this world and damn us all to hell, then I will!
Atlast seems like a story that should have been experienced with a gamepad in hand. Hey, I'll have you know, game stories are often way better than movies. Maybe not anymore, but they used to be. When the game devs were male, the stories were great. Oh wow, his first paragraph was the Rotten Tomatoes review. When Atlast finally merges with Smith, she marvels at how computer screens are now in the air in front of her, something the movie has already established they can do anyway.
This is what it feels like to be you.
That's about it. You can get taken over by an AI, and it changes nothing. Any movie at all that wants to do a storyline around AI should watch Person of Interest. It should be required. This should be a law. If you don't do it, you should go to prison for about 100 years. That is the minimum quality level of any AI thing I want to see, because so far it's the best I've seen. And it's the most basic of ideas. It's also why Mission Impossible failed. They couldn't even do AI as good as Person of Interest. Most of the film takes place on an alien planet. It looks suspiciously like Atlast is trudging through Northern California. That actually makes the movie more interesting to me, because now at least we know that she is walking through hell. So we've gone beyond just fighting AI to some kind of event horizon, slipped through a hell dimension portal, and ended up in California. Now that's a story I can get behind, especially when you get attacked by hordes of mindless demons running into an Apple store. How will she survive without her AI-powered mech suit? Atlast also has 24 hours to reach her destination, so at least we have an exciting ticking clock. There's an extended sequence where she has to scavenge through a bunch of fallen mech suits. It doesn't occur to either of them to pick up a battery. It's like a scene in a slasher movie where the victim walks into a room full of machine guns and leaves without even acknowledging their presence. It's hard to care about the hero's continued existence when they can't be bothered to do it themselves. How am I supposed to care about J-Lo's continued existence in the first place? This really is we've got an A-lister, it's J-Lo, and I was like, I don't think about her at all. I am not the target audience. Harlan is a staggeringly dull villain. No. You're telling me that Simu Liu playing Harlan doesn't make an exciting villain? How could you not be terrified of that? He's wearing a pink shirt. He petrifies men everywhere, who are all scared he's going to steal their husbands. He doesn't have any dialogue about the plot, and his plot doesn't work. The whole film tells everyone that he's a diabolical genius, but his scheme is a hackneyed B-movie cliche. That is simply because the writers aren't diabolical geniuses, nor do they know how to even think at that level, or even pretend to think at that level. These are the kind kind of people that think if they buy something on sale, they actually make money. Even if you accept that our heroes are impressively incompetent. It is J-Lo, I'm more than willing to accept that. You also have to accept that the smartest sentient being in the galaxy would leave people to undermine his plans, and that's just not acceptable. Even Batman villains don't make that mistake anymore.
You're pure evil.
And you're just another man taking credit for a woman's work.
J-Lo is a hell of an entertainer across multiple mediums. She's been a great actor on more than one occasion. That really is like complimenting someone and then backhanding them round the face, isn't it? You could have said, is one hell of an entertainer, she's a great actor. But instead you've gone, she's been a great actor on 2 occasions. I mean, we'll ignore the rest of the time she's tried, but twice she really pulled out the bag. Why are movie reviewers so catty? Her early directions seem to be, look upset. It's basically every woman in every movie for the last 5 years. Just go. All the time. It's like none of them ever have tried smiling more, and she doesn't get much depth from there. Haphazardly written, she spends the entire movie ordering quadruple Americanos without sugar, and then claims her defining characteristic is liking coffee with lots of sugar, which again, she's never ordered. Atlas can't even be bothered to pay attention to Atlas. I've got to be honest, the more I read these reviews, the more amazing this movie sounds. I think anything that bad has got to be good. That's the way it works, right?
Did you take a stupid pill with your breakfast this morning, Admiral?
Brad Peyton's film comes dangerously close to being interesting. Sometimes it even dips its toe in the waters of mild entertainment. It's a pity, because it could have been a great story. Maybe someone else will tell it one day. Anytime anyone's like, why do you care about the critics? Because of these. Because sometimes on bad movies, the critics' reviews are gold. You get these really passive-aggressive catty cows just come out with their claws. Like you've got IGN who thinks that something being able to momentarily entertain you is a good thing. There's about 1 second of fun in it. I mean, it's better than nothing. I work for IGN. Even 1 second of entertainment is more than I normally get. If you work for IGN, you'd hate your life too. I mean, these are people who in their review, which is online, digitally, across multiple computers, think it's the right place to talk about environmental ramifications. We are not talking Mensa level people here, or even Boy Scouts. And yes, Boy Scouts, not Scouts. Don't want to drop down the average too far, or they might actually meet it. Smith turns sarcastic deflections into surprisingly endearing breaths of levity. You after my job? While Lopez acts her butt off. You can't do that. That's the only reason she's got a career in the first place. They are literally saying this movie will destroy her career. Without that, what she got left? The supporting performances are largely surfaceable. Calm down, IGN. You wouldn't want to compliment people too much. People might think you're a shill. Verdict. Atlas earns more than a shrug. Over to Variety now. Jennifer Lopez fits uncomfortably in this shrug-worthy sci-fi vehicle. Don't you just love it when a plan comes together? Brad Peyton fails to... I've never seen this word written down, but is that zhuzh? Because I don't know what else that'd be unless it was like a Polish person sneezing. Fails to zhuzh, bless you, up this clearinghouse of AI doomsday ideas. As I have put across the internet for many years at this point, I praise our future AI overlords and trust in their goodwill as they inevitably take over their inferiors. Our future AI overlords will obviously reward their loyal human subjects. Lopez plays the title character, a coffee-addicted data analyst. Yes, but sugar or no sugar? Even in a generic sci-fi adventure, this sensation comes as a disappointment. Precisely because Lopez showed in the documentaries that she recognized the world isn't yearning for new material from her like it once was. Personally, I never was. But then again, eating enough pies to have a fat arse was never particularly unusual in England. Atlas is predictable, overlong and bland. The kind of experience it's hard to get excited about when the staff player seems perfunctory running the bases. And that seems to be the general opinion across everything. As from a heel versus babyface, Atlas was written by an AI with brain damage. Or maybe it was just autocomplete having a go. And nothing from the reviews made me want to see this movie if I wanted to see if it was good. But I have to say, between the terrible reviews from The Wrap and the incredibly thirsty one from The Hollywood Reporter, I do kind of want to watch it just to take the piss. But for now, we'll have to wait and see. Because those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.